also known as May Day, is the end of spring and the first vibes of summertime. Traditionally, Beltane is celebrated by the Celtic pagan path as the time when fertility is venerated, to acknowledge the sacred union between their goddess and god. Beltane is a fan favorite of many pagans, so the mythologies, traditions, and resources on this celebration are abundant if you choose to go and do further research. If you're still fairly new to the path of nature-based spirituality, you may actually be a bit shocked by the contrast between Beltane traditions and those of seasonal checkpoints that we've covered so far. This is because nature spirituality often celebrates and emphasizes the contrast between darkness and light in our universe, where many other religions seem to associate light with good and dark with bad, celebrating light and making darkness something taboo. Pagans tend to accept that darkness and light are equals and two sides of the exact same coin. From the autumn equinox, where we began this journey, through to the spring equinox, is the dark half of the year. This is when the sun is down for more than half the day. During that time, there's an overall vibe of stashing, saving, conserving energy of all kinds. The dark half of the year is a time when we're naturally more aware of our mortality and the thin line between poverty and prosperity. So a lot of the traditions we've explored thus far are about being deep and insightful, pondering the meaning of life, and clinging tightly to what keeps us safe and warm when the sun is not at its strongest. Now that we've crossed over into the light half of the year, however, spirits are lifted, and there's an overall feeling of a weight being lifted off of your shoulders. We've had our time to be deep and contemplative for 6 months now, and we're just about ready to throw caution to the wind and just plain party. In the spirit of celebrating fertility and life, a lot of what you'll find as you're researching Beltane will be a shameless display of love and sensuality. For those of us who don't specifically identify with the Celtic tradition, it's just as meaningful for us to celebrate this time of year in whatever way resonates with us the most. Following along with exactly what nature is doing, May's Eve is an excellent time to start a garden, for example. In my area, the spring equinox is a great time to start seeds indoors, but it really isn't until May that it's safe to unleash spontaneous plant life outdoors, knowing that nature will effortlessly support its growth. So whether you're into gardening or not, which I highly suggest you garden, the same concept is taking place within our own lives. Any venture of self-discovery that you plan to spontaneously throw yourself into right now will certainly prove to be an evolutionary experience, which will most likely become both evident on the inside and on the outside. The inner work you've done all winter long now is able to show out in your decisions and actions for the whole world to see, and it's going to be a wild ride as you step forward into the wild unknown. A lot of pagans tend to celebrate this time of year as the union between masculine and feminine on a physical level, which is definitely one valid perspective. But on a grander scale, I prefer to feel more into the energies as they expand into the law of gender, which has a lot more to do with sacred geometry rather than male or female. In my model of reality, everything we experience is a union between opposites: light and dark, inner and outer, masculine and feminine, circle or line, thought or form. To me, the dark half of the year is a time to imagine, to dream up the biggest possible self that you can possibly evolve into this year, and then the light half of the year is a time for you to put those dreams into action. The marriage between thought and action is the union of masculine and feminine energy, which is necessary to create real, tangible, observable, measurable evolution in our lives. Being a creative person, I liken this to the concept of the reclusive artist. An artist may spend their winter hibernating in their studio, creating works of art which reflect the deep inner work they're doing through the dark part of the season. They might show their work online, but for the most part, they're pretty much under a rock. Once spring comes along, though, it's time to step out into the sunlight and embrace the vulnerability of showing your work in public, selling your paintings at an outdoor festival, for example, and meeting people face to face, having to stand right next to the visual expression of the depths of your soul with confidence, pride, and courage. That can be scary. May's Eve energy is about coming out from behind the computer screen and making real, genuine connections with human beings and experiencing the growth and expansion that can only come from that kind of union. You don't have to be an artist to apply this concept to whatever you're being shy about in your own life. May's Eve is the time for you to find your tribe, celebrate the hard soul searching that you've done over the winter, and decide how you're choosing to express that for the world to see in person. This May's Eve season, I challenge you. I challenge you to celebrate the energy of fertility, limitless potential, and connecting in person in a new and exciting way. I challenge you to express yourself in a way that pulls you outside of your usual comfort zone and forces you to let previously hidden parts of your soul shine through into the visible world. And I'm excited to move forward into this exciting new spring energy and hear all about your May's Eve traditions and contemplations in our discussion group. So until next time, guys, blessed be.